Islam and RDA, right? I got nothing against the fight. I think that Islam worked very, very hard and very calculated and very successfully to get a fight that's a little bit confusing for me. I don't know what this is about. There's got to be a personal tie into this, by the way, between Islam and RDA. There has to. Did they train together? Did they cross paths? Was there a strange look backstage one time? Like, you just get the feeling that there's something personal on it, but neither guy has revealed what that is. I was very impressed at how hard RDA, I apologize, that Islam worked specifically to get RDA. I'm always impressed with RDA. His schedule is as hard as anyone I have ever seen. I could make a very good argument that nobody's had a harder schedule than RDA. That's what he does. He fights really hard fights. Just what he does. Getting those two together and what that's about, competitively, ranking-wise, architecture, advancement, placement on the card, it doesn't check many boxes, which is why I'm left to assume this is personal. And if I'm right, I do blame Islam. Islam's the one that went for the fight, which meant he's the one that got his feelings hurt, and he does owe it to us, the viewer, to tell us what RDA did. He does. Hasn't done that yet. So maybe somebody can follow up with him and get the question. Okay. RDA comes out, talks about the fight. Says he wanted to talk about himself. RDA talking about RDA. Says, I wanted it to be 25 minutes. Islam said, no, it's got to be 15. RDA said, well, I can learn a lot about the guy and a lot about his strategy if he wants it a shorter time. First off, he's not confident in his condition. And second, he's going to come out fast and try to get things done early. Said he's a Russian fighter. They typically have heavy hands and very good ground control. He said, I'll have my tools sharp and I'll be ready to go. All right, stop. Few problems right off the gate. Thank goodness this is only 3 rounds, because that means it's not a main event. And in all fairness and with all due respect to our former champ and our current chosen one, that's not a main event. If they're headlining a card, we got to dud a card, in all fairness. So the fact that they're a supporting match is great news. That's what the 3-round represents. We know that there'll be a headliner on top of this. Secondly, can you come to the conclusion that RDA did accurately? The conclusion being, Islam questions his conditioning, and Islam wants it to be a shorter fight that he's going to go out there and sprint and try to get through. Because I recall Islam's last fight. And Islam, when he got into those later minutes and later rounds, he was holding up just fine. I don't personally question his conditioning. Personally, I don't. Is RD right about the ground control? Yes, absolutely. Islam's got very good ground control. RDA has been known. I can think of 3 fights off the top of my head. Khabib, Colby, Kamaru. That where they got RDA down, they were able to keep him there. RDA must be laser focused when he's talking about sharpening his skills. The only thing he can do on bottom is get up. If RDA drills an armbar, a triangle, a Kimura, between now and that fight, he's being underserved. None of them are going to work. Not only will they not work, will not get close. Not only will they not get close, you could start in the position with your hands locked, let the referee stop you, and Islam's going to get out. And it's really important because RDA certainly has our respect, right? And this is a former world champion I'm speaking about. But if he hasn't learned along this process, if he doesn't just study the sport and see how infrequently a submission happens, how much less infrequently a submission happens from your back, next to never from your back. It's just one of those things where he has to be very clear to understand, I got to get an underhook, get my opposite hip down, and get up to my feet. Scramble, 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 get up. And if you do worry about a guy's conditioning, nothing will make a wrestler stop wrestling faster than if you stand up off the bottom. If you stuff his takedown or he gets you down and you scramble back up, that wrestler is going to think twice before he tries to do that again. If you do that 2 or 3 times, you will have broken him. The wrestler will not go back to it. You hit the mat, you're down there less than a second. You bounce off the mat like a springboard. He's taking you down, you literally bounce, flip your hips over and create a scramble. You do that 3 times, you will have broken the man. And that's the trade-off with wrestling that wrestlers never want to admit to. When they get the takedown, they must have some time to get some deep breaths. There is so much squeeze in the effort and energy that it takes cardio-wise, to get that takedown. There is so much effort. It's the hardest and most output that you could do in a match. That if you can either stuff it, burn that energy, and now he's stuck right back here on his feet except tired, or scramble out, get up and get right back here. Now the wrestler's again stuck back on his feet, right where he was a moment ago that decided he didn't want to be. Now he's in the same spot except tired. It will make him stop. And if RDA really understands that concept, if he learned anything from T. Wood, from Usman, from Covington, that being held on bottom is just not a good way to win a fight. If it goes to a decision, it's just not going to go to you. Simple as that. And Kevin Holland is experiencing some of these same things. As much as he loves jiu-jitsu and wants it to be true that you can beat somebody from your back, you can't. I always have to read in the comment section, right? I always got to read. Somebody will find a fight where it happened. How could Chael say that? What about? And they'll tell me one. It's a broad stroke. I'm right, not you. In a broad stroke, it doesn't happen. But that stroke gets less broad and more narrow as you work your way up the card. Not only do the guys not find submissions from their back, in a main event, they don't find them from their back. In a title fight, they don't find them from their back. When you have two top 10 guys in there, they don't find them from their back. It gets more and more specific and more narrowed. And if you're worried about being taken down by a guy and you're in the gym and you're working sweeps or you're working coming underneath or you're going to come to a reef or you're going to swing into a knee bar, any of these things is wasted energy. Get an underhook, get up. Straight arm his head, lock your arm out, shrimp away, and get up. That's it. And RDA should be drilling that every single day, just like Kevin Holland. Hey, come take me down, but keep going once we get there. Boom, take him down. Straight arm. Shrimp your body out. Get in tight, underhook, opposite hip, get up. That's it. If you don't have an absolute understanding and a mastery of those positions, you don't belong in there with Islam. And I'm not speaking to RDA right now. I would never speak down to RDA. I'm speaking to the position that RDA is going to have to face. If there's any part of any coach anywhere telling him he can do a rolling shoulder lock or a go-go plata, that coach needs to be thanked for his time. He needs to stay on the bench. Take on a wrestler. You have two options. Stuff the takedown or scramble to your feet. Anything in between will represent a long, drawn-out, painful evening that's going to come to the same conclusion. You get beat.